Before the webinar begins, rename your Zoom name to your complete name and department and/or affiliation so that we can easily identify you. Kindly mute your microphone when not in use. Next, switch on your video if your connectivity allows you. If you have questions with regards to the presentation, there will be an open forum right after. Please type it in the chat box or use the raise hand reaction button in Zoom and unmute yourself. The session is video recorded. Recordings will be made available at the Silliman Online University Learning website.
Let's put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Heavenly Father, we come to you in this hour, asking for your guidance and protection to our virtual gathering today. We thank you for the gift of life, the gift of family, the gift of work, and the gift of friendship. We thank you for this great opportunity to bring us together in this session as brothers and sisters. Bless the committee, the facilitator, and the attendees of this gathering. May we continue to value and appreciate the true essence and meaning of life with the help of your grace. And as we go along our discussion today, we humbly pray that you would deepen our understanding. Lord, enlighten us and give us wisdom every day. Forgive us for our shortcomings and remind us to always be mindful of the things we do in life. We offer our life and our decisions to you, O Lord. May this gathering today create a memorable experience and a fruitful outcome. We ask this through our Lord Jesus Christ, our Redeemer and our Savior. Amen.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Suleiman. Welcome and thank you so much for joining with us this afternoon's webinar. By the way, I am your moderator for today's session, John Sainz L. Palama. This afternoon, we will be learning more on computer safety and security. In the discussion this afternoon, we will be getting some tips and tricks to safeguard everybody in terms of password and backup, and learn to browse and share photos privately in an online setting. This topic will be delivered by an experienced individual about computer safety and security. And allow me to introduce her in this afternoon's session. Our speaker this afternoon is a graduate of Silliman University with a degree in business computer application and a graduate of Masters of Information Technology at St. Paul University, Philippines. She is now a faculty member of Silliman University under the Business Analytics Department, College of Business Administration, Silliman University. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Assistant Professor Myla Jean P. Sardan.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Sir John, for that wonderful introduction. Please allow me to share screen.
Okay, I think our speaker is back. We'll just wait for her to share her screen. And while waiting, just complete the reminder in the chat box for you to log in to our soul.sd.edu.ph. Thank you so much for cooperating.
Good afternoon, everyone. So sorry for the technical issue. Is my voice okay now? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so welcome to our discussion on computer safety and security. And we will be discussing this afternoon. I will be teaching you, or I will be talking to you about some tricks and tips on how to safeguard your information or your account online. So before we will begin, let us first try to define what is computer security. Now, I know there are a lot of definitions out there regarding computer security, but then this is one of my favorite definitions because it's more simple to understand. So based on this definition from edurica.co, it says that it simply is the protection of your computer system and your information from harm, theft, and unauthorized use. True enough, with our information age, with our digital age, we already have a lot of information at our fingertips. So the next question now would be on how do we protect our information? If we have a lot of information, we also have a lot of individuals who might be interested in the information that we have. So it is important that we know how we should safeguard, how we should protect our information. And that is what we will be talking about today, and that is computer security. But computer security is actually a broad topic. So I will just be discussing some of the things that are under this area. So these are the things that are assigned to me. We will be discussing how to create strong passwords and how do strong passwords benefit us as users. How do we back up our files, or do we even back up our files? Now, we are fond of sharing photos online. So how do we ensure that these photos would only reach or would only be viewed by individuals whom we trust, who would not share them to other individuals who might just use our photos or videos for a different purpose. So we will also be discussing how to share our photos privately, even if we do it online. And the fourth one would be on private browsing. Now, let me first ask you a question. Have you encountered at one point in your life when you forgot your password? For those who are able to give me a reaction, please do so. So I would know that I am not the only one who tends to forget his or her password. Okay, so if you did not forget your password, then I guess you're still younger than me. Okay, but in my case, I was able to experience that moment when I forgot my password. So there are really times when it is really a struggle because you really have to remember, sometimes for days, on how to recover your password. You have to search for from different websites just to be able to know how to recover your password. And there would be different ways, there would be different tips on how to make your password secure enough. So it is very important that we create strong passwords. So why do we need a strong password? What are the common password mistakes? What are the tips for creating a strong password? And how can password managers help us? So what or why do I need a strong password? We have already said in the previous slides that we have a lot of information at our fingertips, and it's very important that we secure them. And one way of defending or securing our information, our account, is to ensure that no unauthorized users will get a hand at our information. And the best way to do this is to have a strong password. So when we say a strong password, it should be easy for us to remember, but then difficult for the others to remember. Meaning to say, we do create a password that is not easy for the other people, for the unauthorized, interested individuals to guess our password. Because if you make it too easy for you, it might also be too easy for them. So why do we need and how do we create a strong password? Now let me give you first some common password mistakes. Example, what could be wrong with this password? The password is Ethan8K12. Now assuming the name of this character on my slide is Kathy, and she has these two children, Ethan with the age of 8 and Kate with the age of 12. If you're going to look at the password, well, it can be valid, it can be okay because it contains letters, it also contains numbers. But what could be wrong with this password? Well, Kathy says that these are the names of her children and these are their ages. So then, if an interested, unauthorized individual would like to hack Kathy's account by just looking at her personal information, for example, on social media, and that person would know that Kathy has 2 children named Ethan at 8 and Kate is 12, then that could be um, one possibility that could be the password of of Kathy. Okay, so in other words, this particular password is too personal. So avoid using too much personal information in your password. How about the next? With this password, you have the combination of a letter, of a number, of a capital letter, a small letter. At the same time, it also has a special character. So what could be wrong with this password? It is too short. Meaning to say, if the password is too short, it is still easier to guess. And according to Kathy, this is the beginning of her street address with just a few extra characters. So still, it would be easier for the hacker, for that unauthorized interested individual to guess what her password is. The third one, if you're going to look at this password, it's long. Yeah, hey, it's long compared to the other one. It is not short. It has a combination of numbers, letters, small letters, in fact, and there is a pattern. Kathy says, it is easier for me to remember. But then if you're going to look at the pattern, yes, there is a pattern, but it is so common. If you're going to look at your keyboard, you can find there 1, 2, 3. It's easy to type ABC, reverse it CBA, reverse 1, 2, 3, it becomes 3, 2, 1. Still, you can say that even if the password has a pattern, even if it's long, but then it is still common, the pattern is very common, and that unauthorized interested individual might still guess what her password is. How about this one? What's wrong with this password? Let's try to look. We have a capital letter, we have a small letter, we have a number, and we also have a special character. This password is okay, except that Kathy uses the same password for all her accounts. What then could be the problem? So if that unauthorized interested individual gets to have a copy of that password, she is able, or that person is able to access all the accounts of Kathy because she only uses one password for all her accounts. So again, it's a big no-no. So let me share you some tips for creating strong passwords. These are the things that I have found from different sources, as well as based on my personal experience. Number 1, never ever use personal information, such as your name, your birthday, your username, or even your email address. Why? Because this information is usually made public, and it is easier for someone to guess your password. It is similar to using your birthday as the PIN for your ATM. I remember I had a friend before whom she used her birthday, the numbers of her birthday, as her PIN. And suddenly there was this person who asked her, it was a very close friend of hers, who asked her out of the blue, If her password to her ATM, there was a short discussion. It led to the discussion on whether her password, her PIN rather, is her birthday. And she was undoubtful. She simply said yes. Later, or a few hours later, she realized that her ATM card was gone and her money in the bank is also gone because her PIN was very easy to get. So it is also similar to this. Never ever use your personal information to be part of your password or as your password. Number two, use a longer password. We have seen in the previous slides that the password should not be too short. Okay, so make it longer. It could be at least 6 characters. For others, it could even go reach up to 16 characters, so that the longer it is, the more complicated it is. It would even be more difficult for the hackers, for the unauthorized interested individuals to guess what your password is. Okay, so that's tip number 2. After my discussion, if you have additional tips that you would like to share, you can also do so. You can turn on your mic or you can chat them in the chat box. Number 3, as what we have learned with Kathy's mistake, don't use the same password for each account, because obviously if someone discovers your password and it's the same password for all your accounts, then you're in for a big trouble. So make sure each account will have a different password, or at least there is really a difference between each password. Next tip, try to include numbers, symbols, both uppercase and lowercase letters. So you don't just rely on the use of the alphabet, on the letters in the alphabet. You also have to combine it with numbers, making them uppercase and lowercase. At the same time, you can also include symbols that are found on your keyboard. Another one, this is also very important. Keep your passwords to yourself. It's not a public property. It's not something that you can just share it to anybody. So keep your passwords to yourself. Don't give your passwords to anyone else. Don't share it, just like you don't share your PIN of your ATM. Don't type your password into your device if you are within plain sight of other people. And do not plaster your password on a sticky note on your work computer. Like, you do provide a password for your computer so that nobody else can use it, but then you write the password on the sticky note, you paste it in front of your computer. Still, if somebody would approach your computer, they would still know what is your password. Unless it's a public computer, there are a lot of you who will use it, then everybody or those persons, individuals, should get to know the password. But then if it's your personal computer and you don't want others to snoop into your files, then you have to ensure that you write your password, you store your password, you place your password in a safe place. Okay? The next step would be on avoid using words that can be found in the dictionary, especially if that word is very related to your hobby or to your character, to your interests. Like, for example, your password is just swimming one. Now, if you're a person who's a swimmer, who's interested in swimming, or who goes swimming a lot, then a person who is interested to know or to guess what is your password might try to think of this particular word because it is related to you. So make sure that you don't just use words that are common in the dictionary, that are found in the dictionary. You have to combine it with other characters as well. Okay, so random passwords are actually the strongest. So now we say, how do we create strong passwords? So random passwords are the strongest. Now, if you're having trouble creating one, then you can use a password generator instead. So there's actually, there are a lot of password generators on the internet. I have shown you two examples. I have tried this one, passwordsgenerator.net. So you can see here, there are a lot of options that you have to fill up, like how many characters would you like to include in your password? Are you going to include symbols or numbers, lowercase letters, uppercase letters, exclude similar characters, exclude ambiguous characters, and so on. So the list is there. All you have to do is check or uncheck that one. After that, you can now click on generate password. Okay, so the moment you're going to click on generate password, then the password generator.net is going to give you your password displayed on the text box, this part here. Then all you have to do is copy that one. Easy, right? So you don't have to think of all those random characters because it might take you long to think of those random characters. So you can ask for the help of this different website. So this is free. You don't have to pay in order to generate your password. Now this one is another password generator. At the same time, this is also a password manager. I will be talking after this what is the role of a password manager. So LastPass is also a password generator, at the same time a password manager. So you have their different options. All you have to do is click on it and then copy whatever is the generated password on this part of the screen. Okay? Is my connection still okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. So what is the purpose of the password managers? So password managers would be very helpful in storing and making it sure that your passwords are safe from unauthorized interested individuals, or simply put, they're called hackers. So we have said in the previous slides that if your password is too long, it's too complicated, it might be difficult for you to remember. So you have to write it somehow, you have to place it somewhere so that you can just retrieve it. So one way to help you with that is the use of the password managers. So what do password managers do? They store your password safely online. They can remember and enter your password on different websites, which means you don't have to remember longer passwords. So what are the examples? You can make use of the LastPass password manager. You also have 1Password. You also have Google Chrome's password manager. So there are actually a lot, although they have a trial version. You can utilize their services for free for a certain period, and after that, for you to keep on using their services, you have to pay for a certain fee. So you just have to choose among all those password managers whichever is appropriate for you according to budget, according to your need. Okay, but it is not really required for you to have a password manager, especially that you have to pay for it. Uh, but of course, it can give you more benefits compared to just writing it on your notebook or just placing it in your notepad. Okay, so password managers do have benefits, but they come with a fee. So you also have a long list actually of different kinds of password managers. Next. So what is the purpose of having these passwords? Of course, to protect our information. Now we do have a strong password. Our files are safe in our computer. The next problem now is what would happen if your computer was misplaced, damaged, or even stolen. Yes, you have a strong password, but then your files are there in your laptop, in your desktop, and somebody stole it. Do you have a backup? That would be the next question. How are you going to retrieve those important information, important documents, photos, and other files that are stored in your computer? So it's very important to have a backup. So we will now discuss how to back up our files. I'm sure there are different ways. You can also share your own ways of backing up your files. These are the common ones. So you can back up your files aside from your computer. You can buy, or you probably have an external drive, and you can back up your files there. You can do it manually, meaning to say you do it depending on your need when it is necessary, or you can do it automatically. They will just update at a certain period of time. Or you can also back up your files online. So let's see how these three differ. So if you opt to store your files, your documents in your external hard drive, then you have to purchase an external hard drive from computer shops. You can also order it online, but when you purchase online, of course, you have to really read the reviews because the product could be a scam. You have to ensure that the reviews from the buyers are legit and that they would really say, they can really vouch that the product that was delivered to them is really the right product and it is worth the price. Okay, so I have placed here actually a picture of a product that is posted online with a corresponding price. Of course, the price may not necessarily be always be like that. It could even be higher, especially if you are looking for a bigger storage. And then you have here also different brands that you can use for that you can choose from when you're going to buy an external hard drive. So how do you back up your files in your external hard drive? So you just have to connect your external hard drive to your computer, open it, and then just like how you drag your files within your computer, you can also drag in order to copy your files to your external drive. So as to how many minutes it would take for you to back up, it would depend on how big your data is that you have to transfer from your computer to your external hard drive. So sometimes it would just take minutes or hours, or sometimes it would you have to wait for overnight for everything to be transferred to your external hard drive. Okay, so that is backing up manually. However, you can also schedule a backup using Windows Backup, which allows automatic copies of certain files or folders. You just have to go to Control Panel, and then you have there the option for save backup copies of your files using file history, or you can also choose backup and restore. So with backup and restore, you can just click on this and then click on set up backup or select another backup to restore files from. So if you have a backup, you would also be able to restore your files later, especially if your computer got corrupted or there are some files missing, something happened to your computer. So that would also be discussed in a different topic. You can also click on save backup copies of your files. You just have to click on turn on for you to back up your files. So file history saves copies of your files so you can get them back if they're lost or damaged. So Windows has its own solution for you to back up your files. So for those Mac users, you also have your own version. They also have the own version of how to save and back up your files as well. Okay, so if you choose to back up your entire hard drive, the initial backup could take several hours. You just have to be patient. What you should think is that at least you are going to have a backup of your files. And even if your laptop, even if your desktop gets corrupted, damaged, or it is stolen, at least you have a copy of your files in another location. So if it's for the first time, it might take longer, but when you schedule it on a regular basis, it would not be that long because the drive will only need to copy your most recent files. Now, aside from backing up your files in your external hard drives, you can also actually back up online. So this is for added security. And what's beautiful with backing up your files online is that you can access it from any computer with an internet connection. So it is much less vulnerable to risk and damage because this cloud storage are very powerful. They were created in such a way that it would really protect your files. Okay, so files are saved online instead of servers, and you can access it. That's the beauty, because you can access it from any device as long as it is connected to the internet. So we have here an example. If you want to back up your files online, if you're using Google and you have a Gmail account, you actually have access to your Google Drive. So this is an example. You open your Google Drive and then you can just click a folder there. Then you have to click new and then upload your file or upload your folder which contains your different files. So Google Drive, Google accounts get free storage of a maximum of 15 gigabytes shared through your Google Drive, Google Photos, and your Gmail. But if you want to have a longer drive, longer storage, or bigger storage, then you have to pay for that. But at least 15 gig is already big enough. And then for those who have the Silliman email, you have, for example, if you have your personal Gmail account, you also have your SU email, then that means you have the benefit of having 2 Google Drive. So you can already make use of those for your different files that you can upload. So here are the most popular cloud-based storage. You have your Google Drive. They give out 15 gigabytes free. That's your maximum. You also have Dropbox if you're using Dropbox. And you also have OneDrive, which gives out 5 gigabytes for free. Beyond that, you have to pay. But at least it gives you that much for you to save your information. Now, if you want to back up your files automatically, then there are also sites and applications that will allow you to do that. But again, they come with a certain fee. So it's not free, but they add security to your stored files in your clouds, especially if you are having a business, your company has a lot of information, then you have to invest in such cloud storage so that it would be able to protect your files. The next thing that I'm going to share to you is on how to share photos privately. Nowadays, we are always have that itch to share information, to share pictures on social media. I can remember a friend of mine said every time she takes pictures, she always wants to upload them immediately on her social media. Okay, and with the trend right now, anything that is happening in our life, there are those who would really want to share it to the world. But we have to remember that there are a lot of people out there who might be interested to use your photos, your videos for a different purpose that might embarrass you, that might damage your reputation, or edit it in such a way that they will be used for a different purpose. So you have to really be careful when you share. But still, because we do share photos online, then we still have to get to know how to somehow limit or make some restrictions to those who would be able to have a look at our photos. So what I'm sharing to you would be on how to do it in social media, emails, as well as in Google Drive and other ways. Now, for social media, for example, the very popular is Facebook, and you also have Instagram. The default restriction, or there is no restriction that every time you're going to upload pictures, if you did not do anything with your setting, the default would be uploading it, letting the public see. So everybody who has a Facebook would be able to see on their feed, on their wall, those things that you have uploaded if you choose public. So anybody can just look at your pictures, your videos. But still, there are also restrictions, for example, in Facebook and in Instagram, wherein you can choose specific friends. To whom would you like to uh, display your pictures and your videos? So you can choose specific friends, meaning to say you can choose individually who would be those friends on your Facebook list who can look at your pictures or videos. You can also post it. You can also choose only me. So only me, meaning to say nobody gets to see it except you. So I have a friend who does it, who makes use of the only me. There are times when she uploads pictures and the persons in the picture does not want to display, especially pictures of her family, of his family, on social media. So when my friend is fond of taking pictures, their other friend who is cautious in uploading pictures would always tell her, do not upload those pictures to your friends. If you want to upload it, then do choose only me. So that is what she always does if the pictures contain the family of their family friend. So because it's very convenient to just upload whatever are your accomplishments, whatever are the things that you want to share, you want to immediately post it on social media. You want to see how many likes, how many reactions, heart, and whatever emoticons that you would like to have for those posts that you just did. So you have to be careful. It's very convenient, it's very easy to share and communicate, but then you have to remember that there is not much privacy. Um, According to a certain celebrity, one of my favorite celebrities, she used to say that every time she posts something, because she knows she's a celebrity, every time she posts something online, she does not wait for whatever would be the reaction of the public. She immediately thinks that the moment she uploads it, it becomes public property. So it can be open to all the bashings, to all negative or positive comments, and she does not read the comments just so she won't be hurt if ever there are negative comments about it. Okay, so because she feels like posting it, then she posts it, but she's aware that it becomes viewable to a lot of people, especially if she is a celebrity and she has a lot of followers, she has a lot of friends on her Facebook list. So there's not much privacy. But nevertheless, if you want still to upload, because there are those who still want to upload because it's getting full on their phone, it's using a lot of their phone memory, so they will upload it on Facebook as additional storage. Okay, so you can do that. Just make sure that you choose which files to share with your friends and which files to keep to yourself. So another way of sharing your photos or videos would be to send it instead in an email. So with an email, you are limited with the number of files that you can send. You cannot send your whole album. It would Gmail is going to give you, for example, a message that you can only attach this number of files. So you have to write another email to attach the other set of files. So the purpose there is that at least you are limited with the number of files that you're able to send at that certain time, and then you really get to choose who would be the recipients that you would like to send your photos or videos to. But then again, emails can easily be forwarded. So still choose the photos that you would share online. Okay, even if you said that, okay, I'm going to send you this photos and videos, I hope you will not share it to anybody. But then that recipient, that person, simply clicks the forward and then forwards it to her friends. So still, it is not really that private. So just make sure that you are cautious in which files are you uploading online. So another way of uploading your pictures and then sharing it to only those whom you would like to share could be the use of your Google Drive. So you can upload your photos to your Google Drive, place them in a folder, click the folder to select, and then click share. Then you can choose to share with people or with groups. Like this. For example, if I'm going to share a folder or a file, I get to click on the share button. Then I have the options restricted. So meaning to say, you are going to approve each time somebody is going to access your file. You will be the one to approve if you allow that person to access your file. For the Silliman community, we have an additional option, and that is anybody with a Silliman email can access the link. I do that with my students, and I also tell them to do that every time they submit an assignment. I would tell them that you can choose anybody with the SU email so that I don't have to I don't have to keep on clicking request access, and I have a lot of students. So this would be easier. And then the other one would also be on anyone with a link. So anybody who has the link can share or can access your photos or your videos or any file that you want to share. Okay, so you can also make use of this for Google Drive and determine if you want to share it with the Silliman community, for example, or restricted. That would be the safest option, so that every time they would ask access from that file, you would be notified by Google. So there are also other ways of uploading your pictures. So you can do it in Shutterfly, you can do it in Dropbox, you can also do it in Google Photos. But the allocation would be the same. 15 gigabyte, for example, for Google, that would cover Google Drive, your Google Photos, and your Gmail. But at least you have a storage for all of your photos. So this is an example when I screen captured, and I have here, it's actually found on the menu button here, and then you can choose on Photos, Google Photos, and then you will be able to open this screen, and this is where you can start uploading your pictures to your Google Photos folders. Okay, so I hope we are still good. Can I get some reactions from the group? Thank you. So there's just one thing that you have to remember. Always use your best judgment when sharing. Remember, no matter how you share a photo, someone can always reshare it, just like private emails can be forwarded. So it is really up to you. It is up to you to decide whether you want to upload these pictures online, because we know that once you upload something on the internet, it might go to the wrong hands. So make sure that you don't upload something that could be embarrassing, that could be inappropriate. So be aware of the possibility that a private photo could be shared with more people than you expect. So you could never share a photo that could ultimately prove to be embarrassing or inappropriate if seen by the wrong person. So always make that choice. This photo looks good. Should I upload it? It's a little embarrassing. It's a little inappropriate. I would rather not. Or, okay, I would like to upload this photo because I like it, then go upload it. Just make sure that you decide before you click upload. So we are done with having strong passwords so that you would be able to protect your files, be able to share your photos privately. You can also do private browsing. You want to share your photos privately, you can also browse privately. There are times when you want to browse privately because there might be some topics that are very sensitive and you don't want it to be seen by other individuals who might be using your computer. So private browsing actually prevents your web browser from saving your browsing history. Whatever you type on the search bar, it will immediately be stored in the browsing history. You would have noticed when you when you type something, there would be a lot of choices. That is because previous topics related to that have been um, browsed, and it is stored in the browsing history. So anyone else who uses your computer will not be able to see your online activity if you do private browsing. So how do we do private browsing? We can do private browsing in Chrome, in Firefox, in Microsoft Edge, in Safari, as well as in other browsers that you might be using. So I'm just going to give you 4. And we will also be talking on what is that do not track. Can we tell websites not to track our browsing history or not to track what are we browsing online? We will try to see that later. So for Microsoft Edge, let's start with Microsoft Edge. You just have to go to settings And you can see there the option new in private window, because by default, the moment you open Edge and you search, you open a certain window, that would be the regular window wherein there is that browsing history. So if you're going to go to settings and choose new in private window, then it will allow you to have this kind of screen. So your browsing history will not be tracked by the websites, but of course, there are also other websites that are very smart. They would still be able to track your visited websites. So we will also be talking that how to solve that one later. So here, there is a discussion, a short discussion that would tell you on what in private browsing in Microsoft Edge does. So you have here, it deletes your browsing info the moment you close all your in private windows. It saves your collections, your favorites, and your downloads, but not your download history. So it seems a little better compared to using the regular window. In Chrome, you just have to go again to settings, and then you will have there the incognito window. So in the incognito window, you can still do that private browsing. Then you will have this kind of screen when you click on incognito. For the Firefox, again, you click on this button on the settings, and then you choose new private window. So the purpose is the same, except that they may have different icons, they may have different names, but they will still allow you to do private browsing. So when you click on that, this would be your possible screen. So you will have here the icon that would tell you that you're doing an in-private browsing. Then for Safari, you can click on File, and then you will have the option there for new private window. So private browsing does not really guarantee that your browsing is secured and that your activity cannot be tracked, because there are still websites that can track your activities. And that is what we will be talking about next, on how to activate your do not track. So what is the purpose why websites would track your browsing history, or would track which websites are you visiting? Number one is to be able for them to determine what would be the ads that would be displayed for you. So so that they would know which targeted ads are to be delivered to you, so that you would know that or you would be interested. They somehow have an idea based on your browsing history that you are interested in these things. So there would be some targeted ads that you would see on the different websites. So it can also be used for collecting data and making a site run smoother. However, browsers let you choose not to participate in the system by offering a do not track option. So you can have the regular page when you open your browser, or you can also activate the do not track option because you do not want to participate in the said survey, in the said sending of those targeted ads. So how do we activate that? So do not track would also ask each website you visit to not track your activities. However, website participation is also voluntary. So there are some websites who won't honor also your request. So still, you can say that there are still websites who would still be able to track your browsing, but at least it becomes limited. So how do you turn on your do not track option? So under Microsoft Edge, you can go here, you can click on this settings, you go to settings, then you look for the privacy, the search, and the services. Then you click on send do not track request. So you turn this on so that the website would know that you are requesting not to track your browsing. Okay, so for then you will be given this option here on send request. They are going to give you the result of choosing the do not track option. So you can always click on this send request in order to activate your request that you don't want to be tracked. For Firefox, again, you go to settings, then you click on privacy and security panel. Then you will have here under privacy and security, you just have to click on always so that websites would know that you are requesting do not track. Then you just close your window and whatever it is that you have updated in that page would immediately be activated. So you have choose the always send websites do not track, and it's always so websites would know that you made that request not to track your browsing. For Chrome, on the other hand, if you're using Chrome, again, you go to settings, then look for privacy and security, and then you have there turn on send a do not track request with your browsing traffic on or off. So with that, Chrome would also know that you don't want to the websites to track your browsing history. Okay, so I am done with my discussion. For those who would like to share their experiences, their tips as well as to sharing your, as to how to create your passwords, browsing, and anything related to the topic, please do so if you want. If you want to share your own experiences, you can also type um, your questions in the chat box or clarifications if you have one. John?
Yes, yes, Mama. I agree with that. Um, some with some tips and tricks that we have discussed this afternoon, Mama. I also apply that one in my social media accounts. I have four
Okay.
different social media accounts, and
Oh,
yeah, with your presentation, I really do agree with all of that. That was very informative and instructional discussion of mine. Thank you for that. I know for sure that our attendees this afternoon get some tips also in safeguarding our password and able to share their file privately with the help of the discussion this afternoon. Again, Amai, thank you so much for that wonderful sharing this afternoon. By the way, for those who have question on the discussion or something that is you wish to add more insight, please feel free to unmute yourself or else have your input or insight in the chat box. Thank you. Okay, if there's being none, I'd like to share back the screen so that everybody can see what's the next step for the webinar this afternoon. Okay, so for everyone's reminder, In the chat box, there is an evaluation form link for you to have your certificate this afternoon. Please feel free to evaluate our resource speaker on the discussion this afternoon. The technical team will be the one to send out the form inside our chat box and click on that form for you to evaluate our speaker and yeah, for you to get your certificate. Thank you so much. Okay, I hope our link is working. Please, before going through the photo opportunity, give me a virtual thumbs up if you're able to have the link with you. You're able to access it well. Okay, we have an instruction here in the chat box, by the way. To get your certificate of today's training, answer the evaluation form first. For you to answer that one, you need to log in to our Soul account. Visit oursoul.su.edu.ph. You click on the link in the chat box. Please feel free to use your email address as your username. And for the password, we have here default password, our soul 1901. Please feel free to have check it in the chat box for you to have your certificate and evaluate our speaker this afternoon. Thank you. Okay, so while waiting for the others to log in to our soul, I'd like to invite everybody again and again every Saturday for the upcoming webinar. There are series of trainings and webinars that was given free to to Dr. Mariano Lau. So this is actually a free computer education offered by Dr. Mariano Lau for everyone. For those who cannot access, kindly search their oursoul.su.edu.ph and or else click on the link in the chat box for you to go through the go to the Our Soul platform. Again, oursoul.su.edu.ph, then have your email address as your username and your password is our soul 1901. Our soul is um the word hour is lowercase and then soul soul is uppercase then 1901. All right. So at this juncture, I request everybody to open their camera for the photo opportunity. By the way, for those who cannot log into our soul, again, our default password is our soul 1901. Sorry, it's not O, but 1901. Thank you. Again, in the chat box, there is a link that was posted again by our technical team. Feel free to click on that link and for you to access our soul. There are messages here that our site is can't be reached or else invalid. Can you check out there for those attendees you're able to um, log in? Yeah, thank you. Others were able to log in already to our soul. And this juncture, let's do the photo opportunity. I'll just count until 3 and then have our smile. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 3, smile the whole time. Another take. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Once again, thank you so much for joining our discussion and session this afternoon. Thank you again, Sir Steve and Mamila, for having with us this afternoon.